on PragerU YouTube, I wanted to react to this clip of Sunny Hostin from The View. While it's, offensive to say truth and to be blunt with tough love, what is less offensive, apparently, is to just say that black Republicans are an oxymoron and a contradiction to themselves. And here's what she has to say to justify that belief. Let's see if she even does justify that belief.
Chris Cuomo, I know this may be a novel point, a novel idea for somebody who's, a supporter of Trump, but there are people who are capable of being related and not having ethical interests.
There's many things that I don't stand by that Trump did. Trump has done things that are racist. I'm a black woman first, so always understand that.
Hate that idea, first of all. No, you're not. You're whoever you are as an individual first, and that has nothing to do.
But I do say that I have many conservative values that I will talk to you about. And so if you look at your network that you're standing behind, yes, and when you look at your network that you're standing behind, you're saying that you look at Chris Cuomo.
I feel like that's an oxymoron, a black Republican.
You feel like it's an oxymoron?
I do.
Why? Your friend right here is a Republican.
We had this conversation many times.
You do, and you say you feel like it's an oxymoron that you're Catholic, but you also are pro-life.
I don't understand either.
No, you don't understand yourself then. You have disagreements.
I understand myself. I don't understand either of this.
But it's not a personal conversation.
Yeah.
We're going...
Don't like it. Don't like it. Imagine just looking at somebody and being like, oh, you're black and you think this? What a contradiction. Because your blackness means that you should think this, this, and that. I have it written here on a list for you because that's the list that I got when I was born as a black woman in America, and that's just now what I believe. And because you don't do that, you're an oxymoron. You're a contradiction to yourself. Unbelievable. And this is where we are at. People look at people like me, like Anna Navarro, like all these others on these shows who talk about having differing opinions from the mainstream, and they go, it's not possible that you exist. You must be a traitor to your race. You must be a coon. You must be an Uncle Tom because you decided that the little box that we gave to you when you were born of what you were supposed to believe in, you decided to step out of that box. Is that not the most racist thing you've ever heard in your life? The most racist thing ever is to look at somebody and go, oh, what's your skin tone? Oh, well, it's not white, which means you stand right here, and if you step outside of this, you're an oxymoron, you're a contradiction to yourself, and you're no longer a part of this group that you were born into. And I can't wait for the time that we as a society just adopt the fact that race is simply a social construct and speaks to nothing about what you actually believe, what you feel, what your moral value is, and what your individual characteristics are. Because when we get there, it's going to be really beautiful. But now we live in this divisive country where I am supposed to subscribe to a set of beliefs simply because of the way that I look. So you know what? Maybe America is systemically racist because it feels systemically racist to look at me, to look at these women on this show and go, well, you better believe this, this, and that, or you are a traitor to your race and you no longer have your black card or your Hispanic card or your Latinx card, as they would call it now. Unbelievable that these ideas are just so prevalent that we have TV show hosts on, nation renowned, I don't know why this is nationally renowned, but saying these things.
Yeah, and who was it recently that was like, we need fewer people. We need people that have black skin to be black voices.
Yeah, MSNBC
Yeah.
on MSNBC. I forget what her name is, but she's a black host on MSNBC. We need more black faces with black voices because right now we have a lot of black faces with white voices.
And it's like, who makes you the arbiter of what an entire race of people, what they're allowed to think? Like, it's racist for you to try to impose that on everyone and deprive people of being able to think for themselves and condemning them for that. It's the opposite of what is progressive.
Yeah, and this has been what I've been subjected to ever since, saying, you know what, I don't agree with this, and that on your side of things anymore, whereas I used to before. Immediately, it was like a lion pouncing on you saying, well, you're just not black anymore. You're not black. And I think it really comes out of fear, too, of just losing the grip on the narrative that you've had your entire life, that you've subscribed yourself to. And I had that fear as well, that when I started listening to conservative views and hearing that, oh my gosh, I don't have to believe these things because I'm black. That's too scary. It's too scary. There's no way. There's no way. I dedicated all these years to believing this and to fighting it and to teaching other people about it and into expressing it. There's no way that it's not true because it's been hammered into my brain. How could it possibly not be true? And nobody ever wants to make that realization. And they certainly do not want to have to then say, hey guys, I was really wrong about what I told you the other day. I take it back. I've gotten some new information. Nobody wants to say I was wrong, and nobody wants to say I don't know. And certainly none of these women on The View ever want to say that from virtually any side of the political spectrum. But this is disgraceful, and I think she's catching quite a bit of heat on the internet for this, as she should. And sometimes, again, the left loves tough love. They love to scream at you and tell you how they see it. So now it's going to be vice versa. She's getting a little bit of tough love for the thing that she said here. And maybe, although I doubt it, she will see just the massive amount of Black, Hispanic, Asian conservatives who are going to start telling her, hey, I exist. And it's not oxymoronic to exist because, in fact, your political views have nothing to do with your skin color. How you view this world, how you view traditionalism versus progressivism, how you view the issues that our country is facing and how to solve them is a very different thing from your race. There is nothing attached to that. And if she really cared, and if she really cared about what was better for this country, she would look into whether or not the progressive policies, politicians, the people that she supports are actually helping people of color in this country. Because they're not. And when she learns that, maybe she'll have to walk it back and go, wait a second, it doesn't mean, race has nothing to do with where you lie politically. And maybe I should rethink that. Highly doubt she'll ever do that, because people are subservient to their ideologies, attached to it, and that's all they do is toe the line of them now. But maybe one day, Sonny Hostin.
Maybe one day, the same day that you get unbanned from TikTok and have people stop trying to issue death threats against you for speaking your mind.
Yeah, and I talked about this. I was interviewed twice to be a conservative co-host on The View, and the interview process was I don't know if I should even make a separate video talking about the whole interview process, the question they asked me, and how it just dragged on to never come to fruition. But I think a lot of it surrounds just the ridiculous conversations that they have. Imagine clarity being brought into this conversation, because there was very little present here. And their questions are just about Trumpism and January 6th and how do you view your race and that its attachment to politics. It's such a boiled down version of what anything means in this country. It's like they view people as just little check boxes that you have to tick, little caricatures that you're supposed to fulfill. And they had this whole drama about how The View can't find a conservative host that fits their view of what a conservative is meant to be, because their view of conservative isn't conservative at all. They want some rhino who's going to still espouse their ridiculous social outlook on this world, and they won't find it. They really won't, and they'll continue to have these conversations. I feel like every single episode of The View has a viral clip that comes out of one of them saying something ludicrous. And
it's very true.
And maybe that's what they've just staked their claim on. Maybe their 8 a.m. meetings before they film this show are all about what's the controversial thing that we can slip into this episode so we get another viral clip. It certainly works in this media machine that all we need is something salacious and mind-numbing to make us entertained and keep us in our little metaverse bubbles, our future metaverse bubbles. So I wouldn't put it past them that this is all just theater anyways, and that they just want to be ridiculous. They don't want to come to conclusions on things. They don't want to have the conversations.
Yeah, we saw Joya Behar check her notes the other day to like, oh yeah, well, how was I going to connect this Dave Chappelle thing to Trump?
Right.
Okay, yeah, here's how it was. This was Trump's fault because of the rhetoric that he was using, and that's why a crazy person rushed the stage to try to attack Dave Chappelle. We covered that earlier this week, so It's true. I guess it's working on us. Maybe we're suckers. I don't know, but there's definitely something more here though, because the way that she's reducing people like you to your skin color and saying you must think a certain way and categorizing it is this, and the way she reduced the whole Dave Chappelle controversy to this Trumpian narrative that she wanted to push, that it's his fault. It is a sort of way that the mainstream narrative and the mainstream left sort of thinks, and so dissecting stuff like this, I think, does speak to what they're doing on a larger level.
It does, yeah. And what she says is not we don't react to it because it's Sunny hosting from The View saying it. We react to it because it's an idea that many people hold. You heard the audience laugh as she said, well, I understand myself. I don't understand you. And the whole audience laughs, which this will come back full circle in a couple years when she realizes she's wrong, hopefully, and we'll have this audience laughing clip as Sunny Hostin admits she's wrong. It's just like this endless cycle of things. We watched as Dennis went on Bill Maher in 2019 and told Bill, said the progressive left thinks that men can menstruate. And you're going to be a bigot if you say that they can't. You're going to be a bigot if you say that they can't get pregnant. You're going to be a bigot if you say that they're not women. And Bill Maher and all of his panelists go, ha, 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 ha. Dennis, you are insane. I've never heard that before. And the whole audience in this dystopian, disgusting, just display of ignorance just starts laughing and going, oh, what a stupid old white man. And let's clap for Bill Maher and his panelists who know everything. And what do we find now? It's been, what, 2.5 years, 3 years since that clip? And men can menstruate, right? And if you don't say that, you're a transphobe. And you get death threats. And you get your videos taken off the internet after 11 minutes. That's what we're facing now. So God forbid you say something like that. And we are going to have endless media clips from this time in this day and age to look back on years from now, whether or not we squash this or we don't, that are just going to be blowing our minds. And so many people are putting out predictions and warnings, as Yuri Bezmenov, that KGB defector that I reacted to a long time, that red-pilled me a long time ago, his warning, which was given out in the 80s, the 1980s. We're just going to have thousands of those. So we'll see what happens here.